We both knew this, of course, but we nodded reverently all the same. "If you look hard, you can see the cliffs of Moher beyond." Obediently we stared southward. I'd never caught a glimpse of the cliffs before, and today was no exception. "See? See that plume of spray there? That one there? That's the sea crashing against the cliffs." I leaned forward and concentrated. Sometimes I wondered if anyone could really see the spray or even the cliffs from here. But I didn't question Da. He was proud of the fact that he'd visited those cliffs once upon a time. Maybe his pride gave him better vision. I was proud too. Proud of being a daughter of this green land. I squeezed little Paddy's hand in happiness, then dropped it and ran. Rocks skittered out from under my bare feet. But I was deft. I wouldn't go tumbling with them. It was heavy today, a dead day, the air wet from held-in rain for the third day in a row. I knew the temperature was low, but in the shimmer of all that green below, the day seemed absurdly and deliciously warm. The wind born from my own running cooled me in the loveliest way. I opened my mouth wide to gulp the world. "Ow!" Of course, I stopped and closed my eyes for a second. It didn't serve anyone to show my annoyance. Then went back and helped little Paddy up to sitting. Blood ran from a gash in his shin. Pebbles embedded there. "Clean him up." Da strode on past with a quick glance and playful tug at my hair. "Bold girl, your ma's going to be cross. You know your brother's clumsy." "It's not my fault. I didn't tell him to run." "You ran," Da said, not bothering to stop. "What did you think he would do? You're bold, not thick. My strong, bold girl." The sack of peat thumped on his back, but in a bouncy way, so I was sure he wasn't cross at least. He'd sell nearly all that peat in town, so that was good. And, most of all, no one could be cross so long as the field was green. I looked around. The path here was lined with the occasional milkwort. I ripped off a stem and handed it to little Paddy. "Chew on this while I go find something to clean you up with." "Will it make it hurt less?" I didn't know about that. New mothers used milkwort to make their milk flow better. But I didn't think little Paddy needed to hear that. I shrugged. "It might taste good." I scooted off through the brush and searched. The grasses here in this little stony meadow should have been stiff and rough this time of year. They should have scratched me raw. Instead, the few plants were soft, as though the earth was holding on to whatever wet it could. As I went farther, they got denser. A thin creek trickled along, making a whisper of a song. I hadn't known it was there. I didn't know these hills well. We children hardly ever wandered this far. It was only because of gathering the peat on the other side that we'd gone today. How sweet that stream made everything. Not just the grasses, the air itself. Peppermint grew along the stream's edge. That was good for calming nausea, at least. And here were some lavender plants. Lavender was good for fending off pesky insects, like mosquitoes. I broke off some of each and dragged them through the creek water to get them clean. Oh, glory! Blackberry brambles hung over the water on the other side of the stream. They arced like huge tangled claws of a devil monster, and they were laden with fruit. My stomach clenched in hunger. I looked around. Nothing to carry them in. I pulled my dress off over my head. I was really too old to go without clothes, and Ma would be beyond cross when I got home. But no one was likely to see me between now and then, so what did it matter? I picked as many berries as my dress could hold and hurried back to little Paddy with the precious parcel. He sat on the path in the same spot, but with one hand high in the air now. He flapped it at me, nothing more than a movement of the wrist, but I recognised it as a warning. His eyes were big, and he slowly turned his head to look from me to something at his other side. I stepped softly toward him, half alarmed.